And our Supreme Champion female is our National Champion, Charlet. I feel the power of Tim
112J,
Bullock.
entry number 80, our Grand Champion, Polled Hereford Bull from Agribition. One show in Grand Champion, one show in Supreme.
She's not just a lady for a day, she's lady for life. Wheatland Lady, 211H, and Wheatland Bull, 4177M. Entry number 37.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 5 of the Next Gen Cattle Podcast. This week, we're really excited to have my buddy Luke Balisky on. Welcome, Luke. We're pumped to chat with you, man.
Perfect. Thanks a bunch for having me on.
No problem. Anytime. Just touch on, Luke, kind of your family's operation for people who might not know what you guys are up to.
Yes, Balisky Farms. We're in northern Alberta. Grew up on a commercial cow-calf run operation with the fam. I got 2 sisters, a brother, and then mom and dad. Kind of really, since a young age, liked the idea of purebreds and everything. So me and my brother are kind of drifting towards that side of the industry and kind of hoping to make a gig at it.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys sold some steers this fall too, right?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, I'm kind of getting into the steer game. I'm, something I'm passionate about, and I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, for sure. No, they look really good. And you guys just select commercial females out of your herd then and then breed them clubby?
Yeah, that's what we've been doing for now. Kind of more so it's my gig and my brother's. I mean, dad and mom and the girls kind of got their own stuff going on. But, it's something I think that's really cool and got some cool stuff coming down the line in the next couple of years that I think will be competitive. And, you can always keep on pushing forward in an aspect like that where, there's always room to improve. We definitely had some neat ones already, but days are yet to come with that. And you look like guys like Cord and Pillar who have really done well in that aspect, and also Fisk, like kind of some people that I would like to be at with the steer game.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Denver, especially to me, pops out for that is there's always something better, right? And I think that's one really cool thing with any show cattle or seed stock operation, that there's always that extra spot to push, right? Like you go to Denver and every year there's always that new clubby bull that everyone loves, and you walk through the bull display alley there and you're like, man, like how do you make him any better? And then the next year they bring another one out and you're like, wow. And like it's definitely a cool thing for sure. And I think that in Canada, at least, I think in the last probably, I don't know, I've only really been a part of it for, let's say, the last 5 years, but every year it seems like it gets more and more competitive, right? Like I think the first year I went to Calgary, there's maybe a dozen steers that you're like, wow, like they all have a shot. And I think I didn't get to go last year, but the year before that, it's like, man, there's like 15, 20, 30 steers that they all fit that perfect picture, right? For sure.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I mean, when it comes to like breeding and the idea of making a great one, I think it's so accessible in this kind of time with how fast we can get, genetics up here from anywhere, in the States or wherever we'd like to get it from. I think the industry now is so much more tighter in a sense of you can get quality from anywhere else and kind of make it your own.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with the crossbred steer deal, right? Like you're not waiting on paperwork or any of that stuff to get a lot of those trials across the border. So it's a lot easier, especially it's a pretty quick turnaround, right? Like you think Denver is when a lot of those guys launch those bulls. And for us, you're only talking 2-3 months before you're trying to breed those cows to some of these bulls that you might see online or see in person, right? So that's also another big thing that's great about, I guess, the technology that we have now is how quick the turnaround is on that stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
I guess I'll start off by saying I think you do an amazing job of what you do in terms of fitting and getting one raised for sure. But I guess where'd you get your start kind of in all that stuff?
Well, growing up, like way back in the day when I was real young and a kid and didn't know what I was doing, I was in 4-H con, and you get a little taste of it, but nothing on like a big level or a scale that is super professional and competitive. But I then after kind of getting a feel for it there, went to a couple clinics held by Kirk Steerwalt when he came up. Now I guess most kids go to Rising Stars, and back in the day it was called Making Champions. So I went there twice, And, it's kind of funny. And like way back in the day, I was probably, I don't know, 12 or something, and had this big old 4-H calf all colored up. And there's a photo of Austin Fisk helping me on a top line. And I had no clue what I'm doing watching this guy. And then now today he asks me to come, fit a back leg with him. And I'm, right down there with him doing the same thing, which is kind of neat because it kind of goes to show, like, if you put your mind towards something and you got a vision for it, you can make a go at this. And it's kind of cool that way. So, yeah, I really got into it through that. And then, yeah, going through a bunch of junior shows growing up and fitting there, and then kind of had some really good mentors to help me kind of pave my way in my style and fitting. I got to give a shout out to Brant Walgren, Austin Fisk. Those guys have really like helped me out quite a bit in the sense of what they aim for, and kind of paved my route. And now I kind of got my own style I like, and I mean, seems to work for me. So it's pretty cool.
It works for me too when you come help us, so it's great.
Yeah, you bet.
No, I can definitely attest to the fact that I don't think there's a better feeling when you have idols and mentors like that and people you look up to, and you try so hard to get to the point where you're doing something just like them, right? And you pull a back leg, you're like, man, it's awesome, right? And then you get the chance to pull a back leg beside one of those guys. They're pulling the top and you're underneath and pulling a leg or a belly or whatever it is. And like with Pillar, it's the same way. Like I've looked up the Pillar for a long time, and same with Austin and Brandt and all those guys. And then finally, when the full circle moment comes around and Pillar's like, "You want to give us a hand?" I'm like, man, I'll never forget the first time I went to that junior show in Lloyd in the spring. He had 2 steers there, and he's like, "Man, you want to help?" And I was like, yeah. Like 100%.
No, oh yeah, no kidding.
And I think everyone has those moments like they always remember, right? And I think that's one really cool thing about this industry is it goes to show, like, no matter where you start, like if you connect yourself with the right people and work your ass off, like you'll get to that point, right, where you get to work with those guys and get to call them your friends now, for sure. It's definitely really rewarding in that sense, for sure.
Yeah, oh for sure. I think it also kind of, I find a lot of guys that are real good at it and be particular, because you got to be particular in an aspect like that. So I find guys that are like have a certain look to their stuff and like have it really particular. It kind of goes to show like their personality a bit.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it comes with the quality too, right? Like I think at least for me, when I'm fitting on a good one, I like it. I don't know if it's just the mental game that goes with it, but you want to make it perfect, right? And I think especially all the time, there's always people that are always working hard to get better, right? So I think it's one of those things that you always want to do the best you can do. And I think one thing that I really enjoy is doing a leg, and then like whoever you're helping, or if it's one of your own, you kind of take a step back and you're like, what do you think? Like, you think you should take more off here or do this? And then when they say, man, like, that's awesome, it's like, well, there you go. Right? It's definitely, yeah. And like I said before, it's so rewarding. And I think it's one of those things that obviously every kid and every younger person always has that dream of like getting to a point where they can help those guys, and then you finally get there, and then it's like, wow, like sometimes you just got to take a step back and be like, even for me, I remember my 4-H calf, I tried clipping the whole thing with a pair of 10s. Like it just like, and you think about, and I started from like, my uncle was very involved, and like I did 4-H in Ontario, but 4-H in Ontario is a whole nother ball game compared to out here. Like it's not, there's 4-H programs here that aren't as competitive too, but like I was as green as they could come. And
same.
Like you think about how far you've come and where you are now, and even like you talk to some people when I go home to our local fairs in Ontario, and you talk to them. I remember when you didn't even know how to hold the show stick properly, and then you get to this point, right? And it's kind of like, wow, definitely. I think with age, I've learned to kind of always like step back and kind of remember where you came from and where your roots are, and just kind of remember how far you've come to, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
I guess kind of going with that, Luke, like what's one thing that you would tell your younger self, let's say go back 10 years, kind of what's one thing you would say to your younger self if you could now?
Go back 10 years, I'd be 10. Well, I mean, Dad always had, I mean, it might sound cliche and all poetic about it, but Dad had this quote that I never really understood until later on, but he always would tell me your attitude determines your altitude. And what she means by that would be like everybody can go through this. There can be two people going through the same scenario. One person has a bad attitude and it's just the day goes bad. Everything they see is negative and they can't, catch a break, where the other person could be going through the exact same issues or exact same stuff that's good, having a positive attitude about it. And I think it really just like changes a person, and no one is going to enjoy being around a negative person who's always nagging about stuff and making life miserable. But if you're positive and have a good perspective about it, people are going to be more attracted to you. You're smiling, laughing, have a good time. And I think, Mitch, you actually do this quite well, even if you do know it or not. But whenever you're going through the barns and you're wheeling through the stalls, you always got a smile on your face saying hi to everyone. And no wonder, folks are going to want to be like, hey, you want to come fit for me? I need you helping us out here. That's where you get opportunity. But if you're someone who, is self-centered and off to their own, no one's going to really want to like work with you, and you're not going to build connections on a level that's important, because this industry is a people's industry, right? So I think it's super important to have a good attitude about stuff.
100%, and thank you for that. And I think I think for me, I think it's something that I enjoy so much, and like I love nothing more than getting to fit on really great ones. I love nothing more than, well, I can't say nothing more. I don't love being in the wash rack, but like
Yeah.
I think it's just as much as all of those materialistic things of like winning banners and all that. Like I love the people side of things just as much. Like being able to walk around and chat with everyone, and and I've been in it for long enough, and there's still lots of people that like you think about it and it's like, man, I've never really had an actual conversation with them to see who they are, right? And I think it's always something that kind of goes in my mind. And a big part of starting this podcast was people might not know who Luke is, right? And people might see
Right.
Luke walking around the barn and oh, like I just need something to be able to walk up and be like, oh yeah, so like you got some steers, right? And I think and obviously everyone's super super connected in this industry, and like I said, it's something that I love about it. And I think that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do this too, just to try to take that next step for people and even connect people even more too. So,
Yeah, 100%.
definitely what
Very,
you said.
very
Like
true.
it's 110%. It's a people game. We were just talking about that tonight. Was that like maybe it's not always something you want to do. Is for us, well, for you too, it'd be a long drive to Regina. So it's always, do you go? Like it's a lot, and it's a lot of money, but it's always like, well, you never know who you're going to meet there.
Right.
The future could take you to like something you could never even dream of, right? For sure.
100%. I mean, and if opportunity knocks, you don't want to be, not at the door able to open it up and see what there is.
100%, for sure. Luke, what would be your favorite win that you've been a part of, like through your whole kind of career?
Favorite win? Well, yeah, for sure. So 2 years ago, 2023 fall run, I was here at Walgren Farms with Brant. We had Capital, that Simmental bull calf. Yeah, and he went undefeated, but probably the coolest win that we had with him for me would have been when we won like overall Simmental bull at Agribition and beat out the big bulls. That was real neat. He had that bull obviously is super impressive, and seen him the other day and he's looking better than ever. But yeah, that one was real neat.
Remember that, and I wasn't a part of anything with the Simmental deal that year, but I even remember that, and just like the wow of everyone, right? Like wow, like he did it, because it's a pretty big thing, like a bull calf to beat a big bull, and he was totally deserving of it, I thought too. So it was great, and and I think, kind of getting off track here a little bit, but I think politics plays into that a lot too, right? In terms of, one thing that sticks out for me is when you have people from the States come up and judge, and it's like, you got to use a pair. You got to use a pair. I'm actually really excited because we have some people coming on that do quite a bit of judging here in the next couple of weeks. And that it's one of the questions of how do you work in your brain, like when there's so much pressure to use a pair or to use a big bull, to go and use something, that a lot of people wouldn't use, right? But it's about what you think that day and what. Once again, folks, we'd like to thank Borson Marketing for coming on as a partner in the Next Gen Cattle podcast to provide you guys an updated sale listing every week. So we're going to start off this week in Cypress River. on Thursday with the Pebna Triangle Simmental Association 45th annual sale. Friday, we're going to go to the Ladies of the Peace 4th annual female sale in Grand Prairie, Alberta. And we're going to round the week off on Saturday with the KSL Simmental's production sale in Beaver Lodge, Alberta. Back to the podcast. One operation that you haven't got to help out, but that you'd like to work with in the future?
Well, gee, I've worked with quite a few operations which are pretty big names. I'm super humble and thankful for that. But I mean, I'd go across the line and want to go work for a big name down there. You know, someone like Griswold's would be neat at Denver, something like that. I think that'd be real cool.
Yeah, for sure. And I think any of those big operations down there, right? And I think Sam and I have been super lucky to kind of get to know Gerald Buck and Brenda and the crew down there. And I think it's definitely something that gets you excited to go, right? You know, it's like something different, and it's like we've said it multiple times on here that it's just a whole different world. Like,
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, even like a guy like Competitive Edge, I think Raymond's stuff is super neat too.
For sure, yeah. I think anyone down there, and I think just because it's different, there's so much to learn, right? And I think even with buying the heifer from Bucks in the spring there, and just getting some advice from them, and like little things here that are going to change this and change that, and obviously people up here, there's a lot of people that do an amazing job and have obviously a lot of tricks up their sleeve, but I think down there it's just they take it to a whole nother level, right? And things that you would never really ever imagine. They're like, oh, if you just change this and that'll do that, and then sure enough, you wait a week or whatever and you're changing something, and it's like, wow, you can see it for sure, right?
Yeah, you bet.
What would be a future goal that you have in the show cattle industry?
Future goal, I mean, probably be a lot of other people's goal too, but I think winning Supreme more so with a pair would be real neat.
Yeah, for sure. I think that'd be on the top of my list too. I think would be either to breed one or to show one, or I've been lucky enough and super grateful to work with a lot of great families, and I guess the past 2 years I've got to work on one that's won Supreme, and man, there's no other feeling like being a part of it and like getting to work on them. But I think being on the end of that halter, raising it or owning it or whatever, I don't even think you could describe that feeling, right? For sure.
Oh yeah.
It would just be crazy. Okay, we're gonna start this new kind of section of the podcast. The host gets hosted, so you got a question to ask me, and you're gonna be the host here for a minute.
Okay. Hey, can I do 2 questions? One
sure.
A bit longer, and then the other one is really just like a one answer question.
100%.
But I'll start with a short one. What would be your favorite thing to fit?
I would say tops.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years, I know there's gonna be a lot of older people that cringe at me for saying this, but my body is deteriorating at a very quick rate. And even I think everyone saw me hobbling around on Saturday in Edmonton, and I don't know. I love tops, and I think there's nothing better than seeing them out in the ring and looking across the ring and just seeing that perfect line and everything's perfect. I don't know. There's something about a good top,
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what. You stick on tops, and I'm a big belly guy, so we can make a heck of a team.
Exactly. There, hey, you do a pretty good back leg too.
Thanks. Yeah. Okay, so for actually the one question that I did have in mind would be, what do you think's the biggest change you noticed in the show barns coming from out east and then moving out here west? Whether it's the cattle or the people or how the show's run, or what's the biggest thing that you're like, oh wow, that's a little different, but I'll get used to it.
Yeah, for sure. For me, I think the quantity of shows. So for people who don't know, you can start basically showing in Ontario, I would say probably the first early to mid June, and I would say pretty consistently you can hit 2 shows a weekend from then until just after Thanksgiving, the middle of October. So
okay,
I would say the quantity of shows for sure, and like obviously some of those shows are like 80 head, some of them are going to be 30 head, but there's a couple big shows like Barrie, for example, like you can like there'd be 200-300 head in Barrie, and I think there's a couple of those weekends too, at least that last year that I lived there, that we were showing. You could actually hit like 2 big ones in a weekend. So Lindsay X, for example, fell on the same weekend as Carp Fair. Both qualifiers for Supreme at the Royal, and both pay out. I think it's either $2,000. I know Carp was $2,000 because we were fortunate to win that year. They have the breed shows on opposite days, so you can show in Carp, like let's say Angus on Saturday.
Yeah.
If you don't win, you can load up, drive 5 hours, and then show in Lindsay on Sunday. So what I compare it to a lot here is the rodeo trail kind of in Alberta is the show cattle trail there. And I think it definitely throws kind of a wrench in kind of the plans, because you can imagine, especially if you take cattle to their first show out here, like let's say you're going to Olds just to kind of break them in a bit, and you get there and they don't take it great, but imagine doing that for 6 weekends, 7 weekends in a row, right? And it's I would say that for me would be the biggest thing. And I think in terms of quality, I think it's pretty similar. Probably a few more pairs out here for sure than Ontario.
Okay. Yep.
And I think definitely, obviously, the American influence on Ontario, and just probably the style of cattle a little different, but pretty different worlds too. I know I spoke on Brady's podcast about the walking to water thing. Like here,
Right.
we have those
Yeah.
cows out behind our place, like they're walking 2 miles to a dugout, right?
Yeah.
And
just a different environment and stuff.
yeah, 100%. And don't get me wrong, there would be places in Ontario, probably a little farther north, that might be like that. But at mom and dad's, like, it was, here, we'll bring your water right to your pen, because water's so accessible there, right? Like there's lakes and trees and ponds everywhere there.
Yeah, exactly.
Versus here, it's wide open pretty well, right? So
Yeah.
but we'll get back to it here. What's your what would be your favorite breed to work on, and why?
Favorite breed to work on? Must be the steer guy in me, but honestly, clubbies.
100%.
Does that count? Does that count?
Oh yeah, that counts for sure.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, when you got that amount of hair, you can literally just shape them up however you like. I think
exactly.
it's really neat.
Especially when you get one too that like is like fuzzy haired and not like long and curly, and you can really just like spray a little glue in there, and it's like it does take some work. Like, and
oh yeah,
I've butchered some big steer legs before too, but I think I'd have to agree, when you get a big leg like that and it just crisp, like is nice and crisp, when you get to the end, you're like, man, no better feeling in the world, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
What would be your favorite fall show, and why?
Probably Agribition, kind of the last hurrah of the year. I think, yeah, it's a real neat show. Big crowd.
For sure. And I think it's nice too, because you kind of get both sides of the western provinces, right? Like, I think Edmonton, for guys coming from Manitoba, it's a little far, and even from Sask, it's a little far, but I think there it's kind of, everyone just kind of meets, lucky for Sask, but everyone else meets in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. Okay, this question, guys, we're gonna post as a poll on the Facebook page or on Spotify. I think I can probably figure it out how to do it on Spotify. But we're gonna start with you, Luke. Do you rinse the animal off before you foam them, or do you foam on dry hair?
I'm gonna give the point to rinse first.
Holy, this is
the
last, ever since Sam came back from the Royal, we've been chatting about this, trying to figure out. So we're gonna.
What's your take?
I don't know. I just foam on dry hair. I was trying to remember why I ever did that, or who would have told me that. I don't even know. Apparently, right in the foamer box, we would have to find someone who just bought one. But I guess it says right in the box to foam onto dry hair. Why? I don't really know why you would do one or the other. If somebody has some expertise on why, that would be great. So comment on one of them on this Facebook post I made, because we're gonna start a revolution here one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of theories on each side, but I don't know. I think it comes down to personal preference. You can, I mean, at Walgreens here, we're rinsing before we foam, and I mean, they seem to come out real clean, and so I don't know. I mean, each to their own.
And that's another great thing about this industry that I guess we haven't touched on any of the podcasts, is that, you can take two animals and do completely different things, and they're going to end up pretty well looking the same in the end anyways, right? And I think everyone's got their own way of doing things, and but yeah, guys, be sure to put your 2 cents in on the poll, and we'll see next week what comes out on top. So
There we go.
but we'll do some rapid fire questions here to round it out here, Luke. Favorite fast food joint?
Man, I'll go with Wendy's. I'm a big Wendy's guy right now.
You're gonna be in trouble here. They're closing 300 locations. I see.
What?
Yeah, I saw that on the news
I gotta
today.
I gotta get to Wendy's quick then.
Yeah,
it'll
right
probably
away.
change. It'll probably change in the next month or so. It always does.
Yeah, exactly. What's your what would be your favorite breed to watch if you had to like sit down and watch a show?
Yeah, I'd say Simmies just because I'm more involved in them and probably am more heavily invested and know a lot what's going on inside the breed. So
For sure.
it's real neat to watch.
Yeah. If you were stuck in a truck for 24 hours with one show cattle legend, who would you want to be stuck in a truck with?
Well, he probably wouldn't call himself a legend, but I think highly of him, and I think you can pull a lot of knowledge and information on him. But I'd be fine to be stuck with Dennis Sarienko.
Oh,
I got to
for sure.
got to work with him for Sarienko's last year at Agribish, and that was real neat. He's super cool guy.
Yeah, I think Dennis definitely hits classified as legend status for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What's your go-to pump-up song?
This was tough. I had to think about this for quite a while actually, but I'll have two of them, two different genres. I got a more so country rock would be "Happy Face" by Treaty Oak Revival. That song always gets me going.
Yeah.
And more on the rap or hip hop kind of thing would be "Unforgettable" by French Montana and Sway Lee. That's always a good one to go to too.
There you go. And last one, if you're stuck eating one food in Regina, what would it be?
Can it be a restaurant or just fast food?
Anything you want, but that's all you can eat all week.
For fast food, if I'm on a budget, I'll go Subway. But if we're balling out and got the company checkbook, I'm going the Keg all the days.
Oh,
let's go.
That's a good one. I was trying to think. Have you ever been to that that other steakhouse that's like right downtown? It's got the fancy red carpet. I was trying to remember the other day what it's called.
The Gulf, I think.
Maybe, yeah.
Is it called that? Maybe.
I remember we walked. That was probably. I think it was maybe the first or second year I went out to Regina, but we walked in there and nobody had ever been in there before, and everyone's wearing suits and fancy hats, and we came like right from the barn and we did a 180 as fast as you could spin out of that joint and got out of there.
I think it's called the Gulf, and they take your coats for you and everything.
Yeah,
it's real classy.
Super fancy. We were definitely
we went
a little out of place for sure.
Yeah, we went last year with the crew, and it was real good food.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for coming on, man. It was good to catch up, and I always enjoy chatting with you, and it's good to get her on the podcast. And yeah, I know we've been trying to get you on for a while, and I'm glad that it finally worked out for sure.
Yeah, you bet. I mean, we're both busy guys and got a lot going on, but I mean, I think the industry is super neat industry to be in today, and there's a lot of new stuff and new ways about everything, and it's always progressing. And I mean, even as an individual, I mean, I'm always progressing and trying to be, a better person than I was yesterday, but I can't do it on my own. I want to give glory to God. He's helped me out a lot, and without him, I wouldn't be here today and, striving for what I want to accomplish. But yeah, thanks a bunch, Mitch. And I think what you're doing with the pod is awesome. I always try to tune into other people's pods other people that you got on the pod for sure.
For sure. Yeah, no, thanks for listening, man. It's it's awesome. I probably shouldn't look as much as I do, but I tend to look kind of once a day to see kind of I can't see actually who's watching, but how many people, and I'm blown away, man. Like it's awesome, and I'm super thankful for all the support, and it's never would have thought. I said to Sam yesterday, when I first did it, I was like, man, if I could get 20 people listening the first like couple weeks, that would be awesome. Like just kind of whether they're younger kids that are starting out and kind of need some motivation to kind of get out of their comfort zone and try something, or chatting with like guys like you who people know and just want to learn some more about. And like we got 4,000 people that listened in the last week, so it's
wow, yeah, that's
awesome. It's sweet, and yeah, so thank you, and thanks everybody for listening. It's super humbling for sure, and we got some really cool stuff planned. I think we'll get kind of a year under our belt, and I think next fall we're gonna do some live stuff kind of at Farm Fair in Regina, hopefully, and kind of get some champions on kind of right as they come out and do some live stuff too, maybe. So yeah, it'd be yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, thanks for coming on, man. We really appreciate it. We'll see you here in a week, I guess.
Yeah, humbled you brought me on, man. It was awesome. Thanks a bunch.
For sure.
Well, thanks again, Luke, for coming on to episode 5 of the Next Gen Cattle Podcast. It's always good to catch up with you, buddy, and definitely fun to do it with one of my friends for sure. Stay tuned, folks, for that poll that we're going to throw up here probably early week. We're going to finally settle this debate with everyone's thoughts and opinions, so be sure to give your 2 cents, and we'll report back here next week with what we come up with. Good luck getting into Regina, and we'll see y'all there.